Okay, welcome back to Daily Driven Alpha. Today we're going to have a look at the instrumentation that we've pulled out of the GT Junior and just take you through how we've been cleaning it up. It looked pretty bad in the car, given that the car had been sitting for 30 years under a tree open to the elements, and luckily we've had the water and the fuel gauge and its console that had fallen to the floor. While it was filthy, we cleaned it up, pretty good condition, and we're just tidying that up. The bezels on the instruments are a little bit corroded, but we're going to try and clean them up a little bit further and polish them. Now you'll see that the instruments themselves are in fairly good condition, but these little plastic external rings won't, the chrome's faded on them, they're not coming back, but you can buy those relatively cheaply from the likes of Classic Alfa out of the UK, and so we'll replace those. But the instruments themselves are looking pretty good. So what we're going to do is just show you what we're doing with these instruments, and we've already given the ashtray a little bit of a cleanup. It was covered in corrosion, but just with a little bit of wet and dry and a little bit of attention, that's already come back to a reasonable condition. I guess it's patina, it's faded, but it's certainly not brand new. But that's part of the charm of the cars, and we'll clean that up a little bit further and probably put it back just as it is. Doesn't need to be absolutely brand new. So what are we using? 3000 grit wet and dry sandpaper. So very, very fine. And we're just taking small squares of that, tearing it small squares into a bowl of water, leave it sitting in the water. That's all we're using to undertake the work. And then finally, when we do get to polish at the end, we're just using a household silver, chrome, pewter polish lightly, just to sort of get the final sort of shine on, and also help seal it up a little bit and take any of the gunk from wet and dry sanding off. So not a difficult job, but you can take something like this, and we've had people say, oh, that's going to be impossible, you can't find these new chrome bezels anymore, the corrosion here, and obviously you can't see it, but this is quite rough and pitted. That's the way it looks. So with a bit of wet and dry sanding and a little bit of care, you can end up with that. So you can see the difference between the untreated bezels and the ones that have had a little bit of work on. So you'll see there that it comes up pretty good. There is some very fine pitting left in there, but I'm pretty happy with that. So let me just show you how quickly this can be done, and the amount of effort that you need in this. So the first things are, and don't worry too much about the water, but I always start on the outside, and you'll need to turn your sandpaper quite regularly while you're doing this. You don't need a lot of pressure on this, just very lightly. Check to see how it's going, and regularly wash and clean the sandpaper and start to turn it. So you can see here that this corrosion and gunk on the outside, all this dirt that's collected over 30 years, starts to come off pretty quickly. Right, let's do a little bit of the inside, just so you can see. So, while I said don't worry about the water, obviously try not to get too much water into the instruments themselves. But be careful not to score the glass, even though this is very fine. It just pays just to keep it off there. Regularly clean so you can have a look. And you can see already that that's starting to come off, and if you get in there, and here I use a firm pressure into the bezel and sort of lean into it a little bit, because on the surface here it's actually quite heavy. But if you can see that, you can see the change already between the two surfaces. Now you can see that this doesn't take long, so you can go around the outside fairly quickly. And my view is always just check. You can always sand more, so be careful that you don't rub too hard. Do not use a coarser sandpaper. What you will do is you will actually end up scoring the chrome, and it'll be very difficult for you to bring that back. Don't worry too much if you find a little bit of pitting still in there as you go. You can always apply a bit more pressure and go slowly. Turn the sandpaper regularly so that you're not using a worn surface. And just have a look for that. So what I'll do is I'll just go around really quickly so you can see how fast. Now it depends on obviously what sort of conditions your instruments have been sitting in. Luckily here in Australia, while it's humid, subtropical climate, we do get rust, but because this car had so much dirt and moss and lichen growing over the windscreen, that actually started to form a natural protective layer from the harsh sunshine that we have here in Australia, and I think that has helped protect these instruments. But being open to the air for all those years, we've had natural levels of corrosion get onto it. But I guess if you have a look at that in the time that we've been talking and filming, you can see that it doesn't take long to get a reasonable finish. So look, that's just going around the outside fairly quickly, and you can see it's by no means where it needs to be, but we're starting to get there. I'll just show you a little bit more on the inside here. Let's see if we can get into this a bit more. And I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a bit of effort being involved in there. Starting to come off. Now, one of the things that I've noticed when I've been talking to other Alfa owners, and we're out at Coffee and Cars and other car shows, now a lot of people actually appreciate seeing vehicles with a bit of patina and a bit of history in them. They're not out there to see perfection. So while you can replace things, and I get it, I'm like that as well. There are some things that I like putting new in if I can. We've also got a lot of people out there that appreciate, the condition of older cars and like to see them sort of as survivors in a way. So, it's up to you. You determine what you like. It's your car. But like I said, don't feel compelled to try and make everything as it came out of the factory. In actual fact, I think what we're doing is probably making it better than it came out of the factory at times, from what we've seen. So let's have a look at that now and see what you can see. With the moisture, there's a little bit of moisture inside this instrument, but there you go. Just in the time taken to show this video, we've already started to clean this up. A little bit of elbow grease, a bit of wet and dry sandpaper, you know, and then a bit of final polish. You can end up with your instruments, you know, coming up relatively good. And in actual fact, once that goes back into the dashboard and you're standing back from 10 feet, they'll look fantastic. So look, there's a little bit of a tip. I hope that helps you if you've got instruments that are looking a little crusty and you're not sure what to do with them. You don't have to take them to instrument restorers and get them to charge you a fortune. Get a little bit of 3000 grit sandpaper, bit of water, and gently work them and then polish them, and you might find that you've got instruments that are looking a lot happier and show the car off a bit better, even if they have got a bit of patina. It's all part of owning old cars. So look, thanks for watching, and if you have any comments that are positive and constructive, please share them. Been enjoying your comments so far, and please like and subscribe. Helps us with our channel, and we'll look forward to posting another video of some progress on the actual project cars shortly. Thanks for watching.